Hey guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. Tonight I am joined by a comrade of mine from Pennsylvania. He is a fellow burner. We've met at local political things, and we've also been on the same conference calls for the PA chapter of our revolution. So thank you, Mr. Rob Dtrick, for joining us tonight.
No problem. It's good to be here.
I wanted to bring Rob on because we have a very similar sense of humor, and also we have similar beliefs as far as the progressive movement and what we're looking to have happen basically now. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss is the focus of 2020 online, especially social media. And this isn't just, Republicans or Democrats. These are people within our movement who are continuously talking about 2020, who they want to run, who's going to win, who they need to pick as vice president. Well, here's the problem. We saw 3 months of 2018 primaries and then the general of that. So I'd appreciate, for the movement's sake, if we could kind of just curb the 2020 talk. Rob, how do you feel about that?
The only thing they should be concerned about for 2020 right now is effective campaigning, organizing, how to get ready for whoever it is we're going to back. If you get out and help a candidate now, you'll cut your teeth on it. You'll be able to knock doors a little easier. You'll be able to phone bank. You'll know how to get on and do texting with hustle. If you're prepared now with these candidates, when 2020 rolls around, hopefully we'll have a little bit more of a strategy going forward. Also, if you're not out there meeting the people, you're not going to know who true delegates are for a progressive candidate. I mean, we all have to go into a voting booth here in Pennsylvania and elect our delegates. I was voting for people I never heard of. Matt, I just had a name on a piece of paper. I didn't know what they were. And when they get down to the DNC, they're actually Hillary fans who are designated to vote for Bernie, and they didn't bother to show up to the vote. That's a problem. We don't need that to happen again, no matter who the candidate is.
Absolutely. And the other thing I think people are totally oblivious to is the fact that we're not going to get a progressive, president, even possible presidential candidate in 2020 if we don't have the right people in 2018 in office. Like, okay, cool, let's get a bunch of progressives running for president. Oh wait, everyone in the in Congress is a shill, a Republican, money hungry, centrist, neo-lib. What good does that do us? We're not going to win.
Very little. They'd have to compromise on so much it'd make the presidency worthless.
Absolutely. So in so many ways, it almost feels like the 2018 election is almost, if not more important than 2020, it's close to equivalent, because we need to get those people in there. We don't have another chance for 2 years. So furthermore, I agree, Robin. And furthermore, even if we get stuck with, Douche Canoe and his clan for another 4 years, if we have the right people in Congress, it's not as scary.
Right.
Daniel, I'm actually really open to that. Daniel, a viewer was asking about ranked choice voting. I've interviewed about 90 candidates now, and many of them are totally for that. Especially the Green Party seems to be really supportive. Maine just tried that out for the first time. I'm still waiting to hear back from actual breakdown mathematically how it worked, if anything needs to be tweaked or what have you, but they do it in other countries. What do you think, Rob?
I think it has good potential. I think we'll probably end up with something very similar to what Maine did eventually. You're right. The candidates are on board with this idea. They want it to be more fair and open. A lot of them do. There is old guard there that wants to keep things in their power. Of course, you would too. We're just going to take it from them. That's the end of that. And we're going to really redo the campaign finance and hopefully, get better voting systems. But every state is going to break down their own way. Kind of like legalizing marijuana. It started off with one state and now it's rolling across the country. And that's a beautiful thing to see. We could have ranked choice voting in, another 6 years. True. I do see that being available for 2024 if it really works out in Maine. But then it has to get adopted by 5 or 6 states and then, progress right through.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because there's even, and I can't remember which one, but there is one city, just one, in California who tried it out for their primaries. Literally one city. And I can't remember what it was. One of my candidates was running there. But yeah, so that was kind of interesting. But I think it's definitely worth looking into because there was just so much fuckery in 2016. People, and no, I'm not talking about Russia. People, still don't acknowledge cognitive dissonance is still so prevalent. It's definitely one of our hugest problems. So, between hacked voting systems, 3 million paper ballots in boxes in California, between re-registering people without their knowledge to different parties so that they couldn't vote, having people's credentials stripped in Las Vegas. I mean, the list goes on. And they will stop at nothing. They have shown that. I can't tell you guys how many of the candidates I've interviewed that have gone through this shit too, even locally or state. It's not just the DNC. I had a buddy of mine, Joe, come on, and he's a campaign manager, and he was literally sent a bag of gummy dicks by their local Democratic Party because he wanted a progressive platform. Well, he showed up to the Dem meeting, which he was a member of, and they had him arrested. These are the kind of things, that happen to progressives. Maria Estrada, Stephen Jaffe, both of them are in lawsuits right now.
Yeah.
It's incredible. They say we're nothing. They belittle us, all this shit, but they will stop at nothing to try and stifle us. So to me, that kind of means they are pretty scared of us. Robin, I totally agree. Robin was making a statement that we need open primaries. If open primaries existed, we would have Bernie as president. There is no way in hell we wouldn't. Because the number one thing that happened were people who were green and independent and stuff were showing up and finding out they were switched, or, New York, you have to register 8 months in advance.
Some precincts, they just got wiped out entirely.
Yep.
Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Over 120,000, which they actually admitted, surprisingly. So if we had open primaries, our entire political system would be 100% changed. They tried to cut back on super delegates, and everyone, is like, oh, this is a victory.
Well,
no.
I was on that call. I listened to that call. It kind of is interesting the way they did play it out. it may work to our advantage. The rules aren't written until the 11th and 12th. They'll be written down on the 11th and 12th, and then we can really pour over it and make sure it is what they are pretending it could be. We actually had a guy here in Pennsylvania who stood up. His name is Mayor Michael Nutter, and he was not taking any crap on that. He was being adamant, like, no, we need to take them out of the first ballot. And I really appreciated him doing that. I mean, he's pretty much a centrist, but he stood up for the people that do want to get rid of the superdelegates. So he did here. And yeah, it was his town. The DNC happened in. He was aware. We were not happy.
Yeah, if you remember, that was one of the most frustrating things in 2016 because so many people actually promised their superdelegate votes to Hillary before Bernie was even in the race. And the Clinton News Network and all the MSMs were including the superdelegate numbers in all the tallies all the time. So people were like, oh, why do we even vote? Because look, Hillary's going to win, like one more primary, she's in there. And they were doing it.
Not voting. Why get people used to not voting? That works so hard against them. It didn't make any sense.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Aileen, I'm guessing you're extremely fortunate. It sounds like you're in an open primary. We're in Pennsylvania. We are one of many states where you cannot vote unless you are voting for a person in the party you are registered. You cannot change your vote anytime after a month in advance. So let's say it's 2 weeks. In 2 weeks we vote, and I'm a registered independent, which I am. But I want to vote for a Democrat. Oh, well, tough shit.
That's it.
I mean, that is how it works. I am a very proud independent, but I can only vote for independents unless I want to switch for at least 30 days to vote for the candidate I want to vote for. This is why people get discouraged. They don't want to vote, or they lose track of time, or anything happens, and it's all by design. It's all by design. There is no question. Rob, do you want to add anything on that?
No, it's true. Here in Pennsylvania, we are kind of held to belong to a Democratic Party. I know a lot of people wouldn't ever join the Republican Party. A lot of people do join the Green Party. And hell, from a lot of the Green people I've talked to, if the Democrats would just adopt their platform and be decent human beings, the Green Party people would switch over to the Democrats. Really, they would love nothing more than to be registered Democrats if they got to vote for candidates that stood up for the right issues, protecting the environment, social justice, all that. It's crazy. But yeah, in a closed primary state, you really don't have a choice if you want to participate.
Yeah, absolutely. And, unfortunately, especially locally, people don't start educating themselves all that early. So needing to register, to change your registration 30 days earlier. And I'm going to keep it real. When I did switch to, I did what I call Dem for a day. I Dem exited at Occupy DNC when I was with 40,000 of my comrades screaming, hell no, DNC, we won't vote for Hillary, and banging on the fence and marching miles every day in 100-degree heat. I ripped up my voter registration card and threw it in the coffin with the upside down donkeys, and we had the candlelight vigil. So that's when I Dem exited, like right then. However, in May, I did have 2 Dems who I wanted to vote for, and I do believe in voting person, not party. So I had to switch to Dem for 30 days, in which I felt dirty as hell. And then I had to literally, like midnight, the night I voted, I switched, and I was like, independent again. Yes. But it's absurd. You have to go through that. Like, you should be able, in a democracy, in theory. You should be able to vote for whoever you want. Rob, do you ever have to, switch it up to vote for who you want?
I have never actually dem exited. That is not me. This is my goddamn party, and I'm going to get rid of the pieces of shit in it. That's how I feel.
Right on. I have no problem going in to vote, but I feel like I don't want to be there any more than I have to, because I feel like you're the company you keep. And being an independent, I am so proud to represent myself. And being a Dem, I don't want to be associated with so many of those, those people. But I support both ways. It's really a personal decision.
You're not going to catch me voting for every Democrat. I know that. You won't catch me voting for every Democrat. I may be registered as a Democrat so I can play in the primaries, but my congressman here, he has to earn my vote. And when he earns it, then I'll go in and put an X next to his name. Otherwise, I might not put anything down.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have some really great DSA wins. And in Pittsburgh area, but unfortunately, Rob and I are not near that. I had some of them on my show, and they're amazing, and they creamed the people in office. So that was awesome. That was inspiring. But, in my area, I'm kind of, not that hype about anyone, to be honest. So something else, that I did over an hour rant the other day about this vote shaming bullshit. It's 2 years later, but still just so much vote shaming. It's so absurd and disgusting and immature and self-righteous and so on. So there's this thing, and let me tell you, people talk shit about the Republicans because, they're assholes. But the thing is, at least they're unabashedly assholes. So many Democrats are just, they have a facade. And they can be so ugly and so mean and hateful. So, I wrote Bernie in. I'm totally fine with that. I sleep fine. I voted for the only person who earned my vote. I'm totally cool with it. I would have literally rather died than voted for Hillary. So that was my vote. Well, I don't hide that. And people can be so nasty. And it's not progressives who are nasty. It's not Republicans who are nasty. It's the vote blue no matter who. Those people who are just, all they see is blue. They don't care if they take corporate money. They don't care if they voted against Medicare for all. They don't care if they, support lowering prescription prices. They don't care if they want a Green New Deal. They literally care about nothing except money. But they have a D next to their name. So that means they're better, apparently.
Well, you can't. I mean, they're out there. Yes, they're going to be there, and we have to get them out eventually. It's not going to be easy, but there are a lot of good people running for the Democratic ticket that you can't ignore. They're progressive. They're good. So, please don't ignore them. Don't just hate everybody like a Democrat. There are people who are. It's killing me.
No, when I say Democrat, I more mean like your stereotypical, like I'm with her, pink pussy hat, like, any blue will do, like that kind of thing. Out of interviewing 90 candidates, I've endorsed 6, and all 6 have been Democrats. So I really don't care if someone's a Democrat, as long as I think they're a good person and their platform is, progressive, and they have a good history of being an activist. things like that. But when I'm not talking about people who are registered Democrat, I don't care what anyone's registered. Doesn't affect me. What I care about is people who come online and say, you're the reason Trump's president. You're the reason. Like, our votes were wasted, but then they cost the entire election. So I'm not quite sure, which it is. Is it worthless or is it powerful? Because, I mean, I know we're, in Pennsylvania, I know Hillary did not lose by one vote.
No.
I know that. So I feel fine. And, when you tell people that, they're like, well, if you would have voted for her and other people are not my problem. Nope. Everyone is entitled to vote the way they want to vote. And if people are, supposed to be telling other people how to vote, well, you failed at convincing me. So I guess you're responsible. It goes both ways. I mean, and then you got people who are like, you should have voted for Hillary. What did you do to get her to win? What did you do? Did you phone bank? Did you canvass? Did you do marches? Did you do voter registration? Because I know in Harrisburg, they had a Hillary campaign office, and I know they did because they came into our Bernie office acting like they wanted to volunteer and were taking freaking cell phone pictures like total idiots. But anyway, I went there on the opening day on a Saturday. It wasn't even open. The doors weren't even unlocked. Nobody was even there. So for you to say, oh, you should have voted. Well, what did you do to get people to vote? What did you do? So it's easy for people to just say, fall in line. No, F that.
No. Platform committee that met 2 weeks before the DNC, they were upset. The people that were there. Because really, a lot of the stuff got X'd off. Yeah, a couple things went through. I know one of the guys here in Pennsylvania got a couple items through, but there were other, people at that platform committee hearing down in Florida that really had some excellent points. And no, they wouldn't accept anything from the platform. And she wouldn't adopt anything to earn our votes. She was like, we don't need them. Okay.
Yep.
You didn't get them. I mean, how many times were you told, we don't need your vote? Or when half the DNC walked out, maybe that should have been their first hit.
That is some self-righteous shit. We don't need your vote anyway. Okay. I'll remember you said that. Okay. So, and yeah, I mean, you are correct to the viewer who made the statement that a lot of people stayed home. You are 100% correct. Over 90 million registered voters stayed home, and maybe they wouldn't if they could fast forward now and see, how bad things are. But they stayed home because they had nothing to vote for. They only wanted to vote against. If you don't take this piece of shit person, you're going to get this double piece of shit person. So it's like, I mean, is that really a choice? The Democrats as a party are very, very, very good at saying how much they hate Trump, but they're very bad at saying what they support. What do you support as a party? What do you stand for? Yes, you talk about Trump. Everyone does. That's not good enough. I want to know, are you going to support Medicare for all? Are you going to support free college? Are you going to adopt progressive agendas? Are you going to stop taking corporate money? These are the things I care about, not that you hate Trump. It's predictable and it's stupid. Rob, I don't know if you saw this, but the DCCC, which is kind of, comparable to the DNC, it's like a baby DNC. Their new slogan, for real, you guys can look this up.
Look at the other guy? Is it look at the other guy?
I mean, have you seen the other guys?
Have you seen the other guy?
Like, really? Like, we're total pieces of shit, but Did you see them? Whoa, you should totally vote for us because we don't suck that bad. Like, that's what it's gotten to. Like, yes, we suck, but look at them.
I wonder if they're going to come out with another slogan from, the DSCC. Yes, we suck, but it's the next step, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, back to the vote shaming thing. You were bringing up points. The plain fact is, in a lot of our districts, the votes wouldn't have mattered. I predict in my area here, it has been typically red for years and years. Even though Pennsylvania was a blue state, it was solid red here. People are going to be writing Trump in 20 years after he's buried in this district. Doesn't matter how I vote. I have no shame. I am trying to impact, races across the state where I can make a difference now. And that's the only thing people can do. Hopefully help out Sarah Innamorato out in Pittsburgh or somebody down in Philadelphia. If you reach out, get involved, and help the good candidates get somewhere, the more people we have there who are willing to do the campaign finance reform to get the primaries changed to open primaries, we'll be better off. If we don't get these people in, we don't have a voice.
Absolutely. It's really that simple. Yeah. And kind of on that note, you and I were speaking earlier about, a lot of people say progressives can't win. Well, what needs to happen is, okay, so obviously you guys know about Alexandria and the way she just shocked the hell out of people. I was lucky enough to interview her about, I want to say a month or two ago. You can find it on Real Progressives. But I can tell you right now from someone who's met her, and we both were speakers at an engagement, I can tell you right now, the reason she won is not just because she's awesome, is not just because she has a progressive platform. It is because people fought for her like I have not seen since Bernie. People were marching the streets, going door to door, doing phone banking, non-stop. It has been 2 years since I've seen people fight like that. And that's how she won. That's how things happen. So there's still 3 months left of primaries. They go into September. And then we have the generals in November. So, and it doesn't have to be in your state. Our state voted in May. That doesn't mean you just drop off and don't care about elections. That means we still have a responsibility to still promote progressive candidates, to send articles and videos, interviews of candidates to people on Facebook who live in those states. Things like that. Anything like that helps. It's all about getting exposure. That's why I interview so many candidates, because I like to give them a platform, because damn right well they're not getting it anywhere else. Independent media is pretty much the only option for progressives. Rob, I know you do a lot as well, as far as especially in Pennsylvania. What are some of the things that you suggest as someone who volunteers and organize and such? What are some of the things that you would suggest people start doing?
Seriously, 2 organizations, and you can look also independently at candidates and ask them. If you find a candidate you like, find out where their phone bank is based. It could be Our Revolution. It could be Justice Democrats. They may be going through, their own system run by Van. That's fine. Help them out. I love jumping on and helping somebody out in California. I still know it's going to be a good senator sitting in the Senate getting a vote for the ideology that I support. I'm thrilled with Pramila. I worked so hard for her to get in, and that's across the country. But she has stood up and done everything she said she would do, and she's been epic. But yeah, the Our Revolution team is still doing a lot of phone banking. Their text team is actually starting to pick up big time. So many people did the phone banking and texting when Bernie ran. It's the same system. Jump back in. Let's get our men there. You know, I don't know if Bernie's going to run 2020, and I don't really care right now. He needs people that are going to support his legislation if he does get in. No matter who gets in, we need good legislation. We need these people. It's time for the change.
Absolutely. We talked about this blue wave, we heard about it from 2016, 2017. Everyone was, obsessed with this blue wave. Well, I say, fuck your blue wave. I want a progressive tsunami. That's what we have to concentrate on. Yeah. I don't care what party. I don't care. I want a progressive platform. That's what we need. Blue wave implies vote blue no matter who. And that's what got us into this mess. So as far as this blue wave, it was like as soon as primary started, it's like, where are these people who are like talking about this blue wave like it's the second coming? And, we're just going to blow everyone out of the water, so to speak, and just win primary after primary after primary. Where are they? Because as far as me, I see the same people over and over talking about canvassing and phone banking. And I'm like, wait a second, where is everyone else? How many people are doing something other than posting on Facebook? That's being a slacktivist. We got to do more. So Rob, what's your take on that? What do you, if someone wants to get involved, but they just kind of need that motivation?
The motivation is you can make a difference. How many races came down to just a couple votes? Truly, races that would matter. They may not impact your state, but it could be a deciding vote in the state next to you where women lose rights. It's a big deal. You got to try. The slacktivism on Facebook is frustrating. I see a lot of progressives that just go on and whine about the DNC. Yeah, the DNC sucked. The organization that ran a lot of things and corrupted things sucks. You have to not just quit, you have to actually take them on. If you don't, we can't change it. And they're going to remain in power. The Green Party won't get anywhere because they'll never be invited to a debate, no matter what. They are starting to take seats, lower seats, and that's great. But they've got to they need help. It's a big hurdle. And getting independence, they'll never get anywhere without, you said, opening the primaries, opening up the elections, changing campaign finances. How can a Green Party candidate ever challenge a Republican if we don't change campaign financing? So we just need you to find good progressive candidates that'll stand up for your ideology, support them, find a way. It doesn't have to be your state, doesn't have to be your area. Hell, I supported Bernie. He's a senator in Vermont, and I still like the guy, but he's not my senator. I got this guy here running for Congress who worked in the Bush White House. Again, that's not a blue wave, man. That's really leaning red to me. If he's going to go against women's rights, I don't know how I can put a check mark next to that D. I don't know. I'll speak to him about it, but it's not going to be a blue wave the way they're expecting. If we get a progressive wave, that's about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me, I had this one candidate on, her name was Selena Vickers. She was a Bernie delegate. She's awesome. She is so awesome. She's amazing. And she lost by 48 votes.
Oh, that could have been changed. That could have been changed. That could have been changed. Absolutely. A little bit of effort could have flipped 48 people. One person making phone calls probably over the period of 3 or 4 weeks could have gotten 48 votes to flip.
This is a woman who was so badass that she literally got Joe Manchin, who's a total
douchebag.
She got him to sign a paper she created, which said he would agree to never cast his superdelegate vote before primary day ever again. She got him to sign that. This chick, like, seriously could have been amazing. She's just an awesome person. And shit, I'm serious. John Mason, a viewer, I kind of caught part of it. Did you say something about today a Green candidate in Arizona was kicked off a ballot? Can you expand? Yeah, I mean, if you look at candidate websites again today, there's stuff about just fuckery going on. It's sad, and thankfully we have cameras and everything, but sometimes having the proof, it doesn't always matter.
Did you follow the Gregory Edwards campaign here near Allentown? The fuckery that happened there was unbelievable. That was outside groups coming in last minute, dumping money into his opponent's campaign and launching basically a huge postcard that covered the entire area. He didn't even get time to respond to it. It was a smear campaign, and he lost pretty much because of that. And that's bullshit. And that was brought on by this company that a lot of people like called Move On. That was Emily's List that did that.
Emily's List, yeah.
Move On did another candidate. I don't even want to talk about that one. We lost our Bernie here in Pennsylvania a couple of years ago because of Move On. And you got to watch the companies that you're getting involved with and think are good. Make sure you just pay attention to the damn candidates. Don't trust someone else's word.
Hey, speaking of Move On and Joe Manchin, how about this? Move On. Elizabeth Warren sent an email. Good old progressive Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, boy.
Email trying to raise money for Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
How about that? Now that's awesome.
Yeah. Why? She has supported a lot of great legislation. She has done a lot for the progressive movement with her votes. I don't want to talk to her ever.
See, but lately, it's like, not only did she just totally just freaking F over Bernie like nobody's business, but she also voted for this $70 trillion war budget increase and, all these beautiful things. And I'm like, where is this progressive? The one who completely ignored DAPL, regardless of how many pleas and things like that. So I'm not sure if her true colors are coming out or if she's changing because she endorsed Hillary and it's like contagious. I'm not sure. But
it's contagious.
I don't know. Who knows? They had those matching blue suits.
Oh wow.
My God. That was so sad. That was so sad. Just seeing both of them like waving all excitedly in their matching blue pantsuits.
Well, it's kind of funny. And another thing that I noticed and I wanted to bring up to you, when I've been involved talking to these Democrats that have been around for a while, it's amazing, but a lot of them are progressive and they didn't have any army behind them. They wanted to change things and they got shot down all the time. Now, when Bernie came around, they saw this young army of people and they're like, holy shit, we actually have a chance here to make the changes we've been trying for 20 years, but nobody would listen. It's time to stand up. They know the game. They know how to play it. You've got to give them the backing. If they don't get the backing, things will not change. I have met quite a few of the older ones. And, it's great to see the young ones, and they want them involved too, but they already know the game, and that's half the battle.
That's a really good point. Speaking of I digress a little, but on that note, a lot of people are like, just praising Maxine Waters right now because she stepped to Trump. So my thing is, every single time that I see her up until this week, all I could think about was how she completely disrespected all Bernie supporters, totally disregarded us, put us down, like everything like that. And now progressives who are progressive, so I thought, are like worshiping her. Oh my God, we gotta get Maxine back in office. And oh my God, dude.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like,
she did a good thing. And, you know, even Trump does good things once in a while by accident.
Yeah.
It happens. She's not going to fight for your ideology. She's not going to stand up to, you know, get campaign finance reform.
Exactly. Like, you can step to Trump, cool, I support that. But if you still take corporate money and don't support Medicare for all, and, you know, don't support a Green New Deal, that's like one thing. You did not pass that litmus test, period.
There's a lot of Republicans that don't like Trump too, you know. Exactly. They speak up to him.
Exactly. That's a really valid point. You know what's funny, though? I love when Bernie steps to Trump, because Trump doesn't say shit to Bernie, and it's awesome. Because from day one, Bernie never, ever, you know, was, you know, stepped back from him or anything. And it was so funny because remember when Bernie was on, I want to say it was Stephen Colbert, and Stephen Colbert was like, do you want to debate President Trump? And Bernie was like, yeah, totally. And Trump agreed, but then he backed out.
Yes, he did.
That is hilarious, because Bernie would have whooped his ass. He actually knows stuff. It would have been beautiful. That was my saddest moment when I realized they weren't going to debate. I would love to hell bring it. Be amazing.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just looking through the comments. Let me see. Okay. So here's a funny story. So Rob and I were at this PA. It was like a local election for the a PA rep.
I have to reconnect.
For the DNC. What's that? What'd you say, Rob? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Rob? Okay, so So anyway, so Rob and I are there with a bunch of comrades at this DNC thing a couple weeks ago. It was a vote for a new Pennsylvania member of the DNC. It was pretty amazing because there was one progressive, just one. There were four who said they were progressive, but yeah, you know how that goes. So there was one progressive, and she pretty much schooled them. She was a Bernie delegate, and she said, look, you know, as far as the DNC, there's a lot to change. What they did was unacceptable. The one guy on the platform literally said that everyone got along at the convention. As someone who was there, no. My friends had their signs ripped out of their hands. I was spit on. No. We were told to kill ourselves. Like, no. It was not civil. It was not unity. It was anything but. So we need to get past this, Dems are going to have kumbaya with progressives. It's not going to happen. We have to literally, actually bring people together, actually progressive ideals are the best, period. If people actually achieved those ideals, they would realize that that is the way to go. So this one woman, her name is Celine, or what's the woman's name who was the progressive running for the PA DNC chair?
Oh, that wasn't the DNC chair. That was the party chair.
Party chair.
Sherry Morgan.
Sherry Morgan. Yeah, she was holding it down because she was representing people who were disenfranchised by the DNC. Everyone else was making it seem like you just have to move on, when she was saying no, like they need to be held accountable. So there's this little woman. I mean, she was like little. She was like 4'5" or something. And I'm 5'2", but she was like little. And she had a pantsuit jacket thing on, and she just screamed Hillary supporter just by looking at her. And she was nasty, and she stood up and started wagging her finger at Sherry, and just totally nasty, right in the middle of when Sherry was speaking on a panel. So the little woman, the little Hillary woman, she actually shushed me, and I was like, no. I was like, I am almost 40 years old. That bitch did not just shush me. So I turned around and I go like that, and I gave her the finger. And later, an actual city councilman came up to me at the bar and was like, I need to shake your hand. Everyone hates that woman. And we saw you give her the finger. I was like, she shushed me. Like, it was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it became the joke of the night.
Sherry, you brought up Sherry. Sherry got 3 good things passed in Pennsylvania at that meeting. We actually now have a paper ballot, where before it was either a voice vote or pretty much closed doors. They had everybody stand up and said, oh, this person won. Now we have a paper ballot and a recording of that ballot. We can go back and look. When we were talking to people, getting the votes counted to see if we could get Sherry to be chair, we got commitments from people. Now we know the ones exactly who lied. We have a recording of their vote. That was a big deal. The thing that she was getting her finger wagged in her face about was the DNC bylaws weren't on the website. Nobody had access to them except for the people sitting on the committee. And even then, it was hard for the people on the committee to get the bylaws. Now they're publicly posted for all of us. And actually, there was one other big issue that Sherry managed to get pulled off just by running and speaking up like that. And it was, oh, wow, the ballot thing just completely blew my mind, the bylaws, and I know there was a third big issue. And we're going to keep trying to push for other things at the state committee level. I wish I could recall off the top of my head what it was, but it was a big deal. We made big strides. Having a paper ballot, from a standing ballot, I can't explain how big that was for Pennsylvania. They won't be able to lie. They won't be able to lie anymore. Next time, we'll be better prepared. We're also going to know the ones that are going to lie to our face. When we put up a progressive for the chair, we're going to know who we can't trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that, granted, a lot of people who run do not win. Out of 90 candidates, I think, I don't know, maybe 20% have won. I don't know. It's not nearly enough. But the one thing they've all accomplished is they've gotten the people they're running against to go more progressive. Mm-hmm. Because those candidates are, in a way, kind of forced to, because they see these candidates who they think won't win, but at the same time, they see the fire, but behind those candidates and their support and the way that people want to vote. So, and we saw that with Hillary towards the end as well. She wouldn't even go for a $12 minimum wage, and then she started opening up to that. Then she started, free college was pie in the sky, but then she went, okay, free if you make under 120,000.
By the time she adopted a lot of the items that Bernie had been talking about, people stopped watching the debates. They stopped watching her even speak on MSM. So she had lost them pretty much at the DNC. Had she reached out early on and offered Bernie a vice presidency, I don't know that he would have ever taken it, but she would have earned the votes of a lot of his supporters. I think something like that would have worked. And hell, put him in charge. Put him in charge of financing. It's not like he's not a smart old guy. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, for real. What a clusterfuck. I don't even know how else to say it. Just a total clusterfuck. What else is on your mind as far as the party right now? What do you see as
the party? The party is a mess. Obviously, we got to get involved, get people in there. It's the people I'm worried about. The people that are like, I'll never vote Democrat again. Well, that makes you a Trump supporter in some ways because you're not fighting against them. I'm not all about the anti-Trump thing. I want the progressives to win. I want them to get involved. And I don't know how to get the message across to my friends to say, hey, stop fighting Trump on everything. Stop fighting these people that hate the Democrats and just convince them that we need to get this candidate in office to stand up for the right items. It's the small little wins. Like I said, paper ballots. That's huge. It's a big deal for us. We have these horrible voting machines from Diebold here. And if we could get paper ballots in our precincts, I don't know how the votes would have gone down. I really don't, because we don't have any recording of it. We don't have any paper trail, nothing here. But now at the state level, we have paper ballots. They liked it. And they're going to influence. They're going to influence what comes down as far as, the precincts, how much they're allotted in each county, what machines they get to purchase.
Yeah. I mean, well, I believe it's Diebold, the people who make the voting machines in 12 states, all voting machines in 12 states, donated millions of dollars to Hillary's campaign.
Of course they did.
That's kind of the epitome of a conflict of interest to me. What do I know? But it's...
You can hope it was on the up and up, but you don't know. There were so many shenanigans. You began to look for it everywhere. I get that. Paper ballots, something like that would wipe it out. Something with a paper trail, something with a blockchain system that we could just trace it and track it and know how we voted was recorded correctly. That's all we need.
Absolutely. Some of the candidates I've interviewed, a few of the states actually give you kind of like an ATM receipt. And it says your ballot has been cast. You have that receipt. It shows. Because some of my friends in PA who voted for Jill Stein, you know how you can look at the website and it breaks it down by county. And it would say like one person voted for Jill in that county. And they're like, I have 3 roommates
who voted for her.
So there's 4 of us like right here. So I mean, I find it really hard to believe she didn't get the 5%. Maybe she didn't, but I'm sure she got more than they said she did.
Yeah, probably. But we will never know.
No,
we get at the counting. And the only way to get to the actual counting was to start at the party level. And Sherry managed that for us with the paper ballot there. They saw how it worked, and hopefully it'll continue down the line and we can get changes made.
Absolutely. So what are your final thoughts? What do you want to leave our viewers with just on the movement?
If they don't have a progressive in their area, find one they like and help them. Really, if they don't have a progressive candidate in their area, find one. I don't care if it's Green Party. I don't care if it's Democrat. Find a progressive candidate, like you said, to change the topics, to change and manipulate what we're discussing. That helps.
Right on. Yeah, you guys, I definitely encourage you guys to even, I understand, Jay, I saw your comment. Yes, phone anxiety, like, I get you. My knees are shaking every time I go on camera. I get it. But you can do
for phone banking. Phone banking has a lot of aspects to it. You have data pilot, you have monitoring, which is actually the person that sits on their computer and clicks on phone numbers. You don't talk to anybody. You have to physically click on a phone number. You can do so many other things other than just talking on the phone. There are positions where you can help.
I called well over 1,000 people for Bernie, and my God, the one that sticks in my mind was so awesome. It was a woman in Philly, and I called and she's like, hello. And I said, hi, my name is Joy, and I'm calling from the Bernie Sanders campaign in Pennsylvania. And she goes, oh, and she starts like screaming. And I was like, oh, you support Bernie? And she's like, Chow, I have 4 people in this household. You don't get just one vote with me. You get my husband, my daughter, and my cousin. We're all voting for Bernie. And she was so excited. And it was just the coolest moment. I wrote about it that night. It was so amazing. So yeah, you definitely, meet some awesome people that way. Do you have a phone banking experience that sticks out to you?
I ended up doing a lot of what was called data piloting. I was actually loading in lists of phone numbers and a lot of dialing it on the monitor side. My favorite phone banking moment actually was for another caller, the guy that actually got to call Bernie. That was hysterical. He got Bernie on the phone as, hello, I'm calling from the Bernie Sanders campaign. And Bernie played him for a little while. It was funny as hell.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, John, you're right. You do kind of, build up a momentum. And, honestly, the thing about phone banking is a lot of the times you do get a recording. So you just say your spiel and hope they, they listen to it. But yeah, I mean, and there's tons of things. To me, canvassing was way more scary. I ended up on a Trump person's lawn, but you know what? He asked me in to have some water because it was so hot. Whereas I walked past these women who were outside doing yard work, and I approached them because they were on my list, and they started finger wagging. I can't believe you're voting for a man before a woman. That's a damn shame. And I was like, well, ma'am,
shaming.
To quote Susan Sarandon, I don't vote with my vagina. And I just turned and walked away. I was like, whatever. The Trump guy was 10 times nicer than you were. So take that. But anyway, tangent. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please look into people you can volunteer for. It does not need to be your state. We still have over 20 primaries left. They go into September. And then, of course, all the generals in November. Thank you so much, Rob. You're amazing.
You are too. Keep working hard. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Yes, the fellow PA person. This was rad. So thank you guys so much for watching and for your comments. I'll scroll through them all. But thanks, guys. I'll be back Wednesday. My shows are always Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No, you know what? Wednesday's a holiday. Screw that. Not that I'm really doing anything, but no, we're going to go on hiatus Wednesday. So I'll be back Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, guys. Thanks again, Rob.
Yep. Good night.
Night.